Go live. All right, give me a second, guys. I'm trying to connect to Instagram. It always takes me a second. There we go. All right, guys. Welcome back to Fit Body Secrets, where my mission is for you guys, bring you guys motivation, inspiration, and a ton of tips to help you guys on your fitness journey. And today's workout actually was inspired by a question that I received in my CrossFit nutrition group. And it is one of the questions that I think a lot of people ask themselves, even if they don't speak it out loud. It's typically or basically along the premise of, I feel like I'm hitting it hard in the gym. I'm there very consistently. I'm eating pretty clean. I've tried a number of things, but I just don't look the way that I want to look. I've been putting the time and the effort in, and I'm not exactly sure what is missing. And maybe you have a lot of thoughts about what you think might be missing from your plan. And you find yourself going down different rabbit holes of maybe you should be more consistent with your diet, or maybe you should be, eating less carbohydrates. Maybe you should be tracking your macros. And I want to talk to you guys today really about, honestly, this is at the core of why the name of my company is FitBodyRx, because I really want to help people look and feel fit. Okay. So I'm not the kind of person that wants to go into an LA Fitness or a Planet Fitness and do a bunch of bicep curls and tricep extensions. I will, because they're going to help me get better at the fitness stuff. I want to be able to do more pull-ups. I want to be able to squat heavier. I want to be able to run faster. And I also want to be able to look like it. And I think that a lot of people in the people that I want to help also have those same core values. Like, you guys go to the gym with the goal of fitness, whether you care to compete with the person next to you, or you just want to see what you're capable of. You do really push to see what you have in you. And that's why my company's name is FitBodyRx, because I wanted people to know what they need to do to develop that body. And I think it comes down to understanding the principles of what a fit life looks like. Now, I'm going to start by telling you all that everybody lives a very, very, very different lifestyle. And it's why when I'm coaching people in my program, there's not a cookie cutter approach to what I tell people. I have to get them to all follow the same principles, but they're going to apply them in their lives in very different ways. Some of you guys work out first thing in the morning, others it's after work. Some people have full-time jobs and kids. Some people have no other responsibilities aside from themselves. Some people are in the gym 90 to 2 hours a day, 90 minutes to 2 hours a day. Some people are in the gym for less than 30 minutes. I have to know where you're at to help you know what you have to change to get the body that you want. And it doesn't mean that it has to come at the expense of your lifestyle. In fact, I think that the goal is to change things about your lifestyle without changing your lifestyle, life, if that makes sense. So it's your nutrition and your fitness and all that stuff needs to fit in with your current life, not your life fitting in with your nutrition and your fitness. But in order for you guys to develop what I'd like to just call the fit body, you've got to recognize that fitness and nutrition has to be a priority in your life. And I'll be honest, this is really hard for me to say because I don't ever want to turn people away. But if you're not somebody who's willing to make fitness and nutrition a priority in your life, then you're likely not a good candidate to work in my program. And that's a hard thing for me to say, because I want to help everybody and I want everybody to feel like they're getting the results they want. But I'm going to tell you that your expectations on what's achievable are not realistic if you're not willing to do those things. And something being a priority in your life does not mean that it has to take up time and energy. In fact, you should feel empowered and excited to take the time to do those things, even if there is a small sacrifice or a small amount of time put into it. And we're going to talk about some of these principles as I get going today. So if you are somebody who is like, you're putting the work in the gym, you're trying to eat better, you're trying to do these things, I want to give you some of the principles that you need to think about and some of the changes that you can be making, or maybe the things that you're doing right now that might be holding you back from actually getting the most out of your workouts. And I was actually going to title this podcast, How to Look Fit in Less Than an Hour a Day, because I think that the biggest misconception is that You need more time in the gym. I don't have enough time to dedicate to the fitness. And you really don't. In fact, for most people, you can get really good results hitting the gym 4 to 6 days a week. If you're doing primarily CrossFit and you're choosing the right weights and you're getting the right intensity, your CrossFit class can be just enough dose for you to get the response that you want. But it all comes down to knowing what matters most to get the most out of that session. And that's what today's episode is all about. Now, before I get into this stuff, I have to put a plug out because this is week 1 of my group coaching program. And it's funny because I honestly changed the name. The name was going to be Fat Loss Accelerator. I was going to call it the FLA program. I was looking for an acronym that had a nice flow to it. And FLA sounded great. Fat Loss Accelerator, because I want you guys to see really quick results. But I honestly didn't love the name. It just didn't resonate with me because as I'm here talking to you guys today about Fit Body, I don't want like people to think, oh, this is like a fat loss plan and that's it. Like I want people to realize like I'm all about you like living the fit life and maintaining your fat loss. So I changed the name. It's Fat Loss Simplified, which goes right along with the workshop that I did prior to it. So it's the FLS program. And the group program just launched this week. It is going to be awesome. If you've ever wanted to have access to a coach, but it's not quite in your budget, this is a great opportunity for you. And if you are somebody looking to get 50% off your first month enrollment, just shoot me a message and I will also tell you how to do that. Any of you guys listening to the podcast can get 50% off. I just have to send you the discount code. So you have to reach out to me privately. So I want to make a plug out for that. Essentially what you're getting in this group program, as I've talked about it a little bit, you are going to get an onboarding call from me. You're going to get some specific action steps, a little bit of an idea of how long your journey is going to be. It is a month-to-month program based on how long you need to reach your goals. Every single week, we're going to have a topic to hopefully help you be more successful. And at the end of every month, we're going to do progress check-ins and assessments and adjustments to make sure that the following month, you know what you have to change. So this is a really good way for you guys to have some access to a coach without the budget of or having the budget for a one-on-one coaching opportunity. So if you're interested in the program and or you want to take advantage of 50% off enrollment, let me know. You can shoot me a DM or you can shoot me an email at cheryl@myfitbodyrx.com. In fact, I also put an application to sign up for the program in my show notes. If you just put in there that you found out about it from the podcast, I'll send you over the 50% off code. So if you're listening to this and you hear that, that's your cue to go ahead and fill out that application. It's actually probably the easiest way to do it. So let's get rolling into today's episode topic. All right. So as I kind of mentioned, you're somebody that's working out 5 to 6 days a week. You don't feel lean. You're eating clean most days. You maybe have some flexible days where you're like, you want to be able to enjoy time with your family. You know, you've tried tracking macros, you've tried challenges, you've tried diet trends, and just nothing seems to actually stick or click. And maybe you even still have a few principles from each of these things. Like maybe you call yourself a quote unquote loose macro tracker. Maybe you kind of dabble with different challenges. Maybe you eat a specific way most of the time, but you just feel like you're not changing. And I was there at one point. In fact, I was there and I was gaining weight. Maybe you feel like you just look puffy. You're not getting the definition that you want. Maybe you're not seeing the muscle development that you're looking for. Maybe your workouts just don't feel like you don't feel as like snappy and as light on your feet. Maybe you feel kind of heavy and you just want to be able to feel good. I think the main thing is this is for those of you guys out there that are carrying an extra 15, 20, 30 pounds, maybe even more than that. And you're hitting the gym and you don't know what to do to change it, especially because you get hungry and you're having a hard time figuring out like how to fuel your body and actually be in a calorie deficit or follow a restrictive diet and actually feel good in your workouts. I want to help you guys with this stuff today. And I want to start by saying that in order for you to develop the person or the body that looks the way you want it to, you want to look like you want to look like an athlete, whether you're an athlete or not, you've got to become that person. And so a lot of times It takes a person taking a look at the things that they're doing in their life and asking, are these in line with somebody who values their body the way that that values their body enough to see those changes? And that can sometimes be a question you ask yourself and realize that maybe you're not willing to change. And that's okay. Like, that's totally okay. It's a choice. But if you're somebody that really wants to change, it should, I wrote this down. You are going to need to build a lifestyle that supports the body composition and health you want others to see, because your external appearance is the result of what you are doing and putting into your body. The work you're putting into it, the recovery, the food, all of that stuff is going to change the external appearance of how you look. That's exactly, even if you think about like every scar on your body is a story, right? Every wrinkle in your face, everything we do, the way your hair is, so even looking at your hair is a great example. My hair is probably like a hot mess right now. But how well you take care of specific things, people are going to notice that. If you're somebody that goes and gets your nails and toes done every single week, like, that's something that you always want to look nice and you keep up with. You put the effort and the money into making those things look nice so that other people see them. Whereas if you looked at my nails, you'd be like, girl, you need to get a pedicure. Okay. You need to make a manicure. But that's just because that's not what I value as much, right? Like, I really don't give a shit about my nails. I actually do like getting pedicures, but yeah, so it just comes down to understand that your external appearance is going to be a result of what you're doing internally. And that comes not just in the work in the gym. I don't care how hard you're working in that 30 minutes or 60 minutes. If you're not looking at the other 23 hours of your day and the thoughts going through your head 24 hours of the day, you're missing a huge piece of the picture. And that's what you guys really have to understand, is that the fit body you're looking for likely is going to require some changes in your lifestyle, in your nutrition, and in your mindset. And we're going to talk about those three things a little bit separately today. So the first one I'm going to talk about, because it is the most important one, is nutrition. All right. When we're talking about building fitness and we're talking about building a fit body and we're talking about full changes, we are looking to create a nutrition plan, not just based on fat loss goals. Guys, if the only reason you are committed to any nutrition program is because it's going to help you lose weight, you are going to fail miserably, because fat loss comes to an end at some point, and fat loss plateaus very often in that journey. And so if the only benefit you see is the scale's moving or it's not moving, then you're missing a huge piece of the picture. Your nutrition should also make you feel satiated. It should be enjoyable. It should fuel your workouts. It should leave you with energy throughout the day. It should leave your body feeling good. Okay. So again, if you're somebody looking for coaching just to lose weight and you don't actually want to improve your health and your fitness, you're going to get a lot more from me than you actually need. I'm the kind of coach that's going to give you the whole picture. I want you to feel good. I don't want to hear about your hormone problems. I want all that stuff fixed. Okay. So you have to look at your nutrition from outside of just the fat loss goals. And in your nutrition, it's not about the diet or the strategy. Last week I talked about diet buckets, but it is taking time to dial in your nutrition from all aspects. Okay, so we want to know calorie wise, how much does your body need? Take the time to figure that out. Macronutrient wise, are you getting enough protein? What does it look like to have a balanced meal? What types of foods that do you enjoy that also have a lot of nutrients in them? What kind of flexibility do you need to have in your diet? And this is where coming into lifestyle plays a factor. When I talk about changing lifestyle, I'm not telling you to quit your job and become a full-time meal prepper. I'm not telling you to tell your kids, sorry guys, we're eating chicken and tilapia for the rest of our lives. But you need to understand how to build the things you need into your lifestyle. I really preach structured flexibility. Flexibility also not just being with the convenience factor, but also looking at, maybe you are somebody who wants to eat out a couple of days a week and you like eating socially. I think that these things are really important. One thing that I did put on here is that the people, and if you're someone that's looking to lose 10, 15, 20 plus pounds and keep it off. I'm going to be honest, guys, alcohol and eating out. And when I say eating out, I'm not even going to say eating out, alcohol, and I'm going to call it shit food. I'm talking things like fried egg rolls and French fries and burgers and macaroni and cheese and all these like heavy dishes and desserts and all these things. Those things are like once in a blue moon. 80 to 85% of the time you're eating high quality. The other 15%, that's what you're doing. Okay. Those things should not be a part of your routine daily diet. Okay. We should figure out ways to curb our sweet tooth and our salty cravings with foods that are more nutrient dense and having a little bit of like the fun stuff built in. But it shouldn't be all about the food every single day. In fact, if you're in the middle of summertime right now and you're like, it's just not the right time for me to dial in my nutrition, that's the wrong attitude. I'm going to be 100% honest. This is the perfect time to dial in your nutrition because you should be able to be flexible. You should be able to go to a restaurant and look at the menu and some days say, you know what, I'm going to choose the salad with the grilled chicken with the dressing on the side, and I'm going to get a whole grain pita with it to have a balanced meal. Rather than, oh, I'm eating out, whatever, it's the summertime. I'm going to have the margaritas, the tacos, and the chips and salsa. Like, you should be able to pick and choose those things. And that's structured flexibility. And sometimes I'm going to tell you, have the chips and salsa and the quesadillas and all that stuff. But most of the time, we are looking for those nutrient dense foods. This is what people that look the way you want to look do. They do have a higher priority on those things. I know what you're saying, but I see them at parties eating what they want. You don't know what they do the rest of the time. And we're going to talk about that. Okay. So nutrition needs to be dialed in. Minimal drinking, minimal, I'm going to call it like eating shitty food, because I'll be honest, I don't even like want to say eating out, because you can eat out and still have a very fit body. Like, you can lose weight eating out, but you have to know how to make the right choices. Okay. So you want to spend time dialing in the nutrition. Second thing is lifestyle. And as I mentioned, the goal isn't here to all of a sudden, abandon ship on your job and your priorities, but it's understanding that you also have to make your body a priority in your life. And I'll be honest, guys, if taking care of yourself is not a priority in your life, you are literally being very selfish, because as you age, your productivity in your life is going to go down and you are going to be less helpful to the other people and less productive in the things in your life that you want to be productive with. You won't show up the same way. Depression, anxiety, low self-esteem are going to start to express themselves. Even other things are going to be affected as your health sinks down. You're going to be spending more money on medications. Like, all of this stuff hasn't happened yet, or maybe it has happened to you and it's time to fix it. You have got to become a priority in your life. Okay, so outside of the gym, you're at the gym for 30 to 60 minutes a day. What are you doing the remainder of the time? Is that like checking it off the box that you got your workout in, and the rest of the day you're sitting behind the desk and you're not even thinking about getting up and moving a little bit, maybe stretching your body, maybe, going for a walk in the afternoon, things like that. Fit people do tend to try and find ways to move throughout the day, not just to burn calories, but because it improves energy levels. It helps get blood flow to your extremities. Like, it's good to move throughout the day. So getting up and taking time to move is a good thing. And if you're not somebody that's used to that, in the beginning, it's going to feel like effort. It's going to feel like I'm having to consciously think about getting up and moving. But over time, that becomes more natural. Okay. Sleep. Again, I know that some of you guys cannot prioritize 8 to 9 hours of sleep per night, or 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. You've got kids, you've got a busy life, you've got all these things going on. But what you can do is prioritize making sure that the sleep you're getting is the best quality sleep possible. You are setting yourself up for sleep success, and trying to make sure that you're getting in enough nutrients. You're having good what do I call it, like sleep hygiene, to ensure that you're getting good hours of sleep in. And on the nights when you don't have things going on, people that value their body, they're not like going out until 10, 11 o'clock at night, smashing drinks. And, they're like, man, it's a good night for me to get a good night's rest. Like, sometimes you're going to sacrifice a little bit of what you would call quote unquote fun time to actually get some rest. And people that actually care about their fitness and their health don't see that as sacrifice. They're happy to get that extra hour or two of sleep. Again, not all the time. I'm not telling you guys to completely abandon ship on the lifestyle that you want to have and the friends and the relationships you have. Those things all matter, but it shouldn't come at the expense every single weekend of you never getting recovered. If you're never recovering, you're always going to be in a little bit of a sleep debt. It's hard to recover from sleep debt. Okay. I think one more thing that comes down to lifestyle also comes down to nutrition, which is you need to be able to take time to plan and prep your food. However, that works in your life. For some people, it might be having a plan, and as you go, like you're just kind of going through the motions as you go. You might eat a lot of convenient options if you are someone that's very busy, that you don't spend a lot of time cooking, or you might be someone that does want to put a little bit of prep work in on the weekend and that you're good for that. Those things, again, aren't really sacrifices. These are things that people that have a lifestyle that promotes health and fitness, they do them on a regular basis. They are always thinking about their next meal. They're always one day ahead. Here's the deal. People will say, I don't want to be thinking about my food all the time. And I don't want to be thinking about my food. Like they don't want to take the time to think about your food. At the end of the day, you're likely not thinking about food any more than you were beforehand. You're just thinking about it at a different time, because rather than thinking about it right before you're going to eat, you're thinking about it the day before you're going to eat. So you're planning ahead. It's not any more time commitment. It's just you're doing it ahead of time to plan. And that's how people become successful, because now you can look at your day and recognize that, man, like you're going to be gone from 8 o'clock until 8 o'clock because right after work, you've got to pick up the kids and take them to sports. So now that when you're leaving your day, you're planning ahead. Okay. This is where little tips and tricks can help you guys. And this is part of my program. Why not get a freaking cooler? I mean, it sounds dumb, but like buying one of those coolers, like I have a little rolly cooler. This way, when you're going to be gone all day, you can actually have 2 or 3 meals in there and some snacks and some drinks, and you don't have to think about it. You can literally eat out of your car and it's not a big deal. You don't have to spend the extra money on buying, convenience foods. But making time to have a plan and prep for yourself is going to be more beneficial to your health and fitness than you realize. And it doesn't require any more time and energy as long as you're thinking about it in those aspects. Okay. So rather than doing it in the moment, you're just doing it a day ahead. The last one, well, actually, I'm gonna save the last one for last. I had one more thing that I wanted to talk about before going into the last one is training. Okay, so as I mentioned, you don't have to be in the gym more than an hour a day. You can get really good results going to the gym 30 to 60 minutes a day. Most people, when you're thinking about that, you're going to want to progress what you're doing in the gym. And this is where understanding intensity, effort, and energy are important. And they're all kind of, I don't want to say they're the same, but they're all kind of intertwined because they affect each other. I'm going to call like effort and intensity. I'm not going to call them the same thing. Intensity. All right. So like when you see 5 sets of 10 back squats, is your last set a set that you could do 20 reps of? Or is it one that you're barely creaking out that last 2 reps? Okay. So we want to make sure that the intensity is there in our training and that we are progressing from week to week. We want to make sure that whenever we're lifting, we're always trying to push our muscles to those, I want to say close to failure. And when I talk about failure, you're always going to want to have maybe 1 or 2 reps left in the tank with good form. I never want somebody completely abandoning ship on mechanics to go for that last rep, or if like depth is getting shallow on a squat or your chin's not quite getting over on a pull-up, but we're really pushing to that mechanical failure. That intensity is going to be there. When it comes to running, those types of things, more monostructural stuff, looking at the workout, if it's calling for like moderate pace versus a hard pace, like, this is usually dictated by the distance. If you see 5 sets of 15 calories on the rower with a 2-minute rest, that like, wow, that's like a 1 minute of work and 2 minutes of rest type of a thing. I should probably be looking to push those 15 calories pretty hard. And dictating that effort goes along with intensity, so sometimes intensity tends to get measured by your results, so you're thinking like, okay, well, I'm hitting 125-pound back squats, which is like, maybe that's 90% of your max for 10, but maybe you're a little tired that day and effort at 95 pounds is hard enough, so that's also important to take a look at your effort. And then the last one I put under training is your energy levels. So going back to nutrition, if you're not eating enough food and you're not eating the right types of foods and you're not recovering enough and you're not fueling your workouts enough, you're not going to feel good in those workouts. So we're dialing in the lifestyle matters. You're sleeping good, you're recovering good, you're moving throughout the day to get some movement and blood flow, but you're eating enough of the right types of foods. And this is where I know it can get really confusing because you're like, I want to lose weight, so I know I have to be restrictive somehow. I have to cut back on calories somehow, but I don't know how to do that without tanking my performance in the gym. And the goal is that as you're developing a fit body, is that you should be seeing increases in your gym performance and decreases in your body fat. Like that's the overall goal. And it's why it's so important to understand realistic expectations on the speed of your results and the actual results that you're looking to achieve. At some point, getting too lean will affect your performance, which most people are way far from that. And if you're trying to go so quick on your fat loss journey, you will see negative impact on your workouts because you're not going to have enough energy available. Okay, so all of those things are really important. And then the last thing that I want to touch on is mindset. And I wrote down two very important things that I feel like are ingrained in people that successfully complete a transformation. So they've changed their body and they actually maintain it long term. The number one thing I wrote down from a mindset perspective is that they value their body more than the food they eat. And it's not saying that they don't enjoy food. Most of my clients that are successful do not live like the quote unquote clean eating lifestyle. They're not like macro trackers for life. They're not celebrating themselves by their nutrition compliance. They do allow flexibility for enjoyment of food from like social meals and stuff like that. But they're also okay saying no. Like they don't have to eat something. They're not like, oh my God, I have to have this or I'm going to die. Like they can actually practice self-discipline and self-control because, well, there's a number of reasons. Number one, I'm feeding them enough calories. Number two, they value their body more. Like they're like, I actually would rather not eat that because I know that I'm still going to be hungry. And I know that it's not really going to be in line with my goals. And they choose their body over the food most of the time. Sometimes they digress and then they go to what they actually really want because it's time for fun. You're on vacation, you're out with friends, and maybe you're exposed to foods that you're not used to. It's a good opportunity for you to just be able to enjoy something a little bit different. The second thing that I wrote down is that people that actually successfully transform their body and maintain it is they feel worse about getting off of their routine than when they're on it. So, and this is, I think, the opposite for a lot of people that are so fat loss focused is that when you're in a fat loss phase, like you're so focused on the goal that you're usually miserable in the process and you can't wait to get off the diet. And the opposite is really what actually creates achievable and sustainable results is that people that successfully transform their body and maintain it actually feel worse when they're not doing their normal things. They actually want that structure and routine. They thrive in that stuff and they don't like to be taken off of it. And they do sometimes, obviously life gets in the way, but they feel really good when they're on their plan that they don't want to feel bad being off of it. So that's kind of a little bit of everything in terms of building a fit body. And as I mentioned, like this is the key, guys. And I told you, it's all about getting fit in less than an hour a day, because at the end of the day, you're in the gym for an hour. This is the stuff that matters outside of that. How you think, how you live, how you eat, and all of that needs to become a part of your lifestyle. And when it comes down to actually putting this into practice, there are two things that you really need to be able to understand and to prioritize more than anything. Okay. Commitment. You got to be committed to the long haul. As you're doing things, they are new habits that you're building for life. It's not a temporary change. It's a permanent change or a permanent solution. And consistency. You have to really think about that in the beginning. These changes, whatever, and there might be, maybe there's one or two things on here that you want to focus on. I would suggest picking one or two things and really going all in on those first. getting consistent with those things over being perfect all the time. So if you, for instance, if I go to nutrition and right now you've never taken time to dial in your nutrition and you're like, I'm going to start tracking my food. And right now, maybe you track 5 days out of the 7 days. That's consistency that's building more consistency in that habit that you've had ever before. So now we want to just kind of keep building from that. Maybe next week you're doing 6 or 7 days out. Then maybe you're adding in focusing on protein. So it's progressive based on where you're at and just getting yourself into that routine. And obviously, the less you're taking on at a time, the longer it's going to take. But when it comes down to the future, remember it's a lifetime of change. It doesn't really matter how fast you make the changes as long as you're knowing I'm not going backwards. Now, I say that you're not going to track your food forever unless you want to do that, but that gets you that. And I did want to end on a really good quote that I love. Well, I love James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits. I subscribe to his newsletter. And something that came to mind when I was doing the notes for this episode was talking about, just I want you guys to realize that it's all about getting more reps in. At one point in my fitness journey and all of my clients' fitness journey, all of this stuff was taboo to me. I didn't train 5 or 6 days a week. I didn't eat healthy. I didn't give a shit about what I put in my body. I didn't care about how much I was moving throughout the day. I slept when I felt like it. I just didn't do any of those things. And I slowly over time started to change things. And in fact, even I remember like what helped me dial in my sleep was the fact that I wanted to feel good in my workout in the morning. So I was like, I'm going to bed early so I can get up and feel good, So it was just all of those things changed for me slowly over time. And I want to end on this: get more reps in. Okay. So remove the need to be perfect. And this is a quote from James Clear. In any election, there are going to be votes for both sides. You don't need an unanimous vote to win an election. You just need a majority. It doesn't matter if you cast a few votes for a bad behavior or an unproductive habit. Your goal is simply to win the majority of the time. So what I wanted to end on this, why I wanted to end this quote is because maybe you are somebody that has some bad habits. You're eating out all the time. You're drinking. You're whatever it is that you're doing right now that that you want to change. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? It just has to be productive in getting the majority rules the way you want to be. And that's how habit change is made and created. So if you are somebody struggling to get on that and you want to be able to make changes to your life that are permanent, you want to be a fit life, you want to live a fit life, these are some tactics for you guys. And if you want to learn how to apply them in your life, good morning, everybody. I wasn't even paying attention to my comments. And you want to reach out to me, you want to be a part of my group program. As I said, listeners, you guys get 50% off enrollment. Just shoot me a message, shoot me an email at Cheryl@myfitbodyrx, or fill out the application in the show notes. Would love to have you in my group program. Would love to be able to help you develop better habits, because at the end of the day, I'll be honest, you might not have the goal of changing how your body looks. You might go to the gym simply to feel better and get fitter, and that is okay. I 100% will always work out no matter what my aesthetic goals are, because fitness is my mental health. It is, it's making my body strong. In fact, coming back from last year, got to give you all a game train update. I am so happy to be starting to feel like myself again, to be able to move again without pain, to get back to lifting and doing the things that I love. I'm never going to give that up, no matter what the actual aesthetic goals are. And I am on the opposite end of the spectrum, and it's been a slow grind, but it's coming along. So I'm actually happy. Although I will say this, I'm like getting off tangent here. I was looking through Instagram yesterday, and I think it was Morning Chalk Up posted something about the average quad size of the CrossFit Games athletes. And I was like, ooh, I don't even know what my measurements are. And it was depressing because last year with my injuries, I haven't been able to lift heavy in my lower body. I've lost like 2 inches off of my thighs since 2022. So it's like, no wonder everything feels so damn heavy. But I'm excited that I feel like I'm finally getting to a place where I'm getting less scared about pushing myself. Anyways, my tangent was that it's okay to go to the gym just to be fit, and you want to learn how to dial in your nutrition just for that fact. regardless of what your goals are. That's also why I changed the name of my program. I want you guys to feel like you're getting a little bit of everything out of it. So that's all I got for today, guys. I hope you all have a great day. If you guys need me, you know where to find me. Cheryl Nasso, Instagram, Facebook. If you're not in my Facebook groups, I've got CrossFit Nutrition and I've got FitBodySecrets. See y'all soon.